Hello, I'm Reginald Bush, and I'm the Area Director for the White Plains Community Action Program, a program that's under the WestCOP, or Westchester Community Opportunity Program, umbrella. Our office services individuals and families who are in need. They service individuals who are in transition, and we service individuals and families who are at or below the poverty level. So we're located at 70 Ferris Avenue here in the city of White Plains, and our phone number is 914-428-7030. And on the web, if you'd like more information, please visit www.westcop.org. So today we are here with White Plains Cap Talks, and I'm very pleased to bring to you someone who is very much in the community of Ferris Avenue and of the White Plains community, and I'm gonna call him initially by his born-given name, Dwayne Watts, but he's known as SiFu and Professor Watts and a number of other things. So I'm just very pleased to welcome SiFu and Dwayne here. So how
Pleasure,
are you?
Reggie.
Pleasure is mine. So tell me, who is Dwayne Watts, or
Well, Dwayne
SiFu,
Watts
or
has a mother named Miss Adele Richardson Watts, who named him Tony Dwayne Watts Sr. Okay, and Tony Dwayne Watts Sr. has a junior who's 33 years old. I have 9 children, 7 grandchildren.
9 children?
Yes.
And you don't look to be a day over 40.
Well, today is my birthday. I'm 51 years old.
51.
This
Well,
October
happy
19th.
birthday.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you
I
very
tell
much.
you, I got to tell you, folks out there listening, some people, and some people out there know, to get to 50 is, because when we're in our 20s and 30s sometimes, there's people that say, if you make it to 35, right?
Most of those dictators are gone.
Right.
And God is great. Chicken is good sometimes. God can't cook chicken. God's great all the time.
So you have 9 children,
Yes.
and I know that some of those you actually raised as a...
Well, my 4 oldest I raised over 25 years by myself as a single parent, and traveled the world, served the country. My mom instilled in me, my grandmother instilled in me, take care of yours. So that's always been a process, in my life that, and I'm very independent, and myself, I know I serve God, me, and then some of the people.
Okay. Okay.
So
So that must have been rough as a single parent, because usually when people think of single parents, they think of a female-headed household. But obviously you're not that.
Right. Well, what I did was, I never saw my dad biologically. Okay. So in my life, I chose to be that man in my family that God sends men to walk amongst man, women to walk amongst women, and which, to the righteousness, and which mean pure. So I wanted to be that pure one in the family. So I made some choices. So I'm the dad I never had, and my kids are the kids I wanted to be.
That's a deep statement.
Yeah, well, when you had a mom who was a mom-dad, and your real father didn't play his piece on the chessboard, the queen won the game, and which was my mom. So me, I'm very similar to my mother. I'm just a male version,
And there's a lot of those families, not just here in White Plains, but across Westchester and the country. And so, do you think that those families and those environments foster some child behavior that is ill-willed, or certainly looked at from society as being, you're that bad kid, and we're going to put you in juvenile detention and all that kind of stuff?
My philosophy was, with my children, what you put into it is what you get out of it. See, in order for you to harvest something, you have to plant something. So when you plant it correctly and you nurture it correctly,
that seed,
it grows correctly.
Yeah.
And fruit doesn't fall far from the tree. You know, me, I'm the leader and alpha of my family.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so, and when I stand up, my clavicle's up, my pants is up, my attitude is up.
Okay.
Because black means supremacy, not ignorancy. So I don't never walk around ignorant.
And you're talking about your pants go up. Are you referring to this whole? And there's been some fight in our environments, and they seem to be the breeding and battleground has been in the school systems with a lot of our young men who are wearing their pants down. Maybe they call it sagging pants or whatever it's called. Which and some of those, by the way, even go into interviews with this look that is just, have you lost your mind?
Well, when you don't have a story,
Yeah.
don't know where a story came from,
Yeah.
right? Never been told a story,
Right.
so then they feel though it's okay, that's a comfortable condition to project their pants hanging off of them. But really knowing what that hanging pants off of you behind is, you belittle yourself.
And I don't mean to cut you off, but this is important because a lot of people and a lot of these young individuals don't know. But let's get to what the real sagging pants is a thing that is related to the prison system and being available as a man to another man, I believe is what that signifies. Is that not correct?
Either you muling or carrying a weapon or you somebody's chick.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Real men do real things, and it's called pull your pants up. People who imitate things like to do secondary things. So I guess maybe they like walking with their pants down. I like to be first, so that's my attitude, about life. Stand up, I represented this country 10 years of my life.
Did you?
As an elite soldier, I know what that flag is about, you know what I mean? I know what this country's about. I know what other countries are about. I've seen people live for a cause, not because. See, a lot of things happen here because it's a trend or they follow. Well, one, White Plains was always an active, athletic town.
Was it? Now, since you mentioned that, let me digress for just a second. With who you are as an individual, because I believe you're a native of White Plains. Is that right?
That's right.
You
That's
are.
right.
So you're born and raised here.
White Plains, yes. White Plains finest. Yes. Sir.
Get out of here.
Tiger
so tell
White
us,
Plains.
Tiger White Plains.
Tiger White
Lord.
Plains.
So tell us about that part of your life.
Well, growing up, going through the school system, elementary school, I started out at Church Street School here on White Plains near Ferris Avenue. Then I went from Church Street to Post Road Elementary. From Post Road Elementary, I went to Highlands Junior High School, which is the old White Plains High School. And then I went to the new high school, which had North House, South House. And yes, I was a Tiger of White Plains High School football, in which that's when White Plains were a 4A high school and unstoppable.
Now, tell what does that mean? Because maybe there's some people
Okay, when I say 4A high school, that's when you have over 2,000 kids in a high school. You have athletes that try out. You had at one time over 100 and something kids try out for football at White Plains High School. Is only going to be 52. You see, you had 10 backs. You had 5 quarterbacks. It's only going to be 2 quarterbacks. It's only going to be 3 backs. You know what I mean? So, know it or not, right across the street from this facility called Winbrook Projects, you had youth that came out of the projects every year, all county, all state.
Really?
You don't hear that anymore today.
Why do you think that is, though?
Well, when there's no facilities, there's no place for these kids to channel this energy. Something that I always have respect the town of Greenburgh for.
Are you saying that here in White Plains, there's no place that these young folks can go to release whatever it is they're trying to release in activities?
I don't hear anything about a youth bureau. It should have been a center here in this town, White Plains, just like the Greenburgh Center. We have more kids than Greenburgh in White Plains.
Well, and why I don't want to get into naming buildings and stuff.
Right.
But don't we have a center that does that?
We have a center in which is the only thing they have is a learning center.
Okay.
Nothing physical can be done in that facility. They don't have the insurance for
Oh.
that, but they have, the insurance for them to receive a check, for having a class or two. But you have young, active black children. I'm a dad and a grandparent, and I know children. So that when spoken to, that hindered many of us,
Right.
no longer exists. This tell the children sit down. Children don't supposed to sit down and be still. They supposed to move. They supposed to be active. They supposed to be creative. And that past mentality need to stop. Fear dreaming. Stop taking other people's dreams away from them. Because I tell a child, reach up in the sky and grasp your goal, and then take that goal and slowly put it into your pocket, and you don't release it till you complete it. You see, we take away too many children's dreams. You have babies having babies.
Is that because of the family structure now? Because and let's put it on the ground floor. So you're 51 and grew up in a single parent home. So my point to that is that this is not a new thing of single parenting. And you certainly seem to, and I know even more that you have become a successful adult.
Right.
But there seems to be some disconnect these days with those individuals who, some of them come out of that situation of single parent homes, that they just go left or right or whichever way that's not the straight down the path, and become this what society likes to be called law-abiding citizens, right? So in your mindset, why is that? What has happened?
Well, one, I took myself. I can speak for myself.
Okay, and
I'm a perfect person because There's no such thing as can't. Number one. Number two, it's choices you make in life. It's okay to change people, places, and things. But when you haven't been taught that, or you don't even have a solution to finding that, you have a tendency to stay stuck, like stagnant. That's why I keep bounce in my pocket. So I bounce negativity away from me, bounce lint from me. You see, I'm like a dryer constantly. And I see with my eyes, not my physical. I know what my physical can do, but I see life with my eyes, and I see when a projection is not correct, and I don't need to watch it. I know how to turn myself away from it, like north, east, south, west longitude. You know what I mean? So the problem with our youth in the streets, at home, nobody has time for them. These old set slave mentality disciplines that many of us has followed right to this day does not exist anymore. Can't exist anymore because too detrimental to society, to a human being, has destroyed many lives. Okay, change is something that we all have need to experience. We have a lot of elders that don't want to hear change because they're stuck. That's how they're going to leave here. Well, you learn that why can't be changed, but if you surrender, everything else can change. You see, we got to stop being stuck. We got to stop making excuses.
Is that and do you mean by that sometimes individuals blame
the past,
the past, and
the
the society, that and I'll just say this, and not to make this a racial conversation, but we like to be telling it like it is here on White Plains Cap Talk. I've heard a lot of young people say, oh, the white people don't want to give me a job. And my thing is, the white people don't owe you anything.
Right.
Really, if you have no education, then what do you expect? So is that some of that?
Well, I will say this. I'm black
Yeah.
and won't want to give you a job if you walked into my facility talking about, yo,
Yes.
hair all over the place,
Yeah.
clothes hanging off of you, right? And I've seen you get dressed better than that to go see a young lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something's wrong with that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's the problem is we need to develop a mission statement. It's time for men to be men, women to be women, so the child can be a child again.
Because obviously, when you look at some of our African American children, and I'm going to put it right to where it is, I was fortunate enough to be part of a conversation with a good friend of mine. Her name is Peg Tyre, who wrote for Newsweek and did a lot of reporting across the globe. And she wrote a couple of years ago a book called Our Boys in Trouble, and it talked about specific boys and relationships and ethnicities. And there is a huge distinction between black boys, white boys, Hispanic boys, and statistically and scientifically, by the way, because some of it is scientifically driven, they're very different. But many times, the black child just, again, I don't want to keep harping on this, goes to that, like the world owes me something. Is some of this drug driven also?
What it is, when you have a young man, that most young men have their mom, but they don't have their dad. Most young ladies have their mom and don't have their dad. That's imbalancement. You couldn't walk without your heart beating.
Right.
Your brain, your heart could beat all it want. Your brain stopped, you're dead.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So one can't live without the other. So same thing in science. As a child, a male, a female, a mom, a dad, and we have too many Olympics, our race, always running from each other, always separating, always throwing something at one another, always dumping something on one another. And the problem with our youth, from no teaching, don't know how to dialogue, don't know how to communicate, don't know how to associate, so lead to a violent action and emotions. So they run out in these streets and become victim of circumstances till God send different angels, put different angels in your life at times, and my youngins call me the father of the street,
Well, and I was going to get to that.
advisor.
So you were sort of the street minister, if you will, and just tell us what that means and what do you do?
Well, what it is first of all, people called me SiFu, professor.
And that now wait a minute, let me stop you for a second, because SiFu does have a specific
Major
meaning. So
yes, sir.
so tell our audience, what is SiFu?
SiFu is capital SIFU. It's Northern Cantonese, meaning grandmaster, master of a Chinese Kung Fu family. I'm a top American student of a Chinese Kung Fu family. I've been involved in the martial arts 49 years, teaching 39, hold 7 different degrees in the martial arts.
So are you a Kung Fu? I mean, now some of us, and I'm not making light of this because I like to share information here at White Plains Cap Park. When you talk about Kung Fu, we've seen Kung Fu movies and that kind of stuff. Is that what you because you say you're Professor Watts, you're a teacher.
When we say professor,
tell me.
When we say professor, that means one who's knowledgeable in all areas. Well, in karate, jiu-jitsu, aikido, right, boxing, I hold a degree in. I'm a 10th dan in 7 different forms of the martial arts.
Wow.
In Chinese Kung Fu, I am at 10th level. I'm a Qigong and Moyat Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is from East Broadway in Chinatown, go all the way back to Fushan, China. And Sanukas Roo, Vianas Roo, Kumite Roo, 8th Dan, in each system of jiu-jitsu. In karate, in Kyokushinkai, Nidan, and Goju, Sandan. So you see,
Really?
yes. So lived the life of a real martial artist. But I took my martial arts. You know, it's 90% mental, 10% physical. So I had a gift, in which was taking care of people. I come from a caretaking family. So my gift, I would go out in the street, and a lot of young people would come to me, and I would listen to them all the time. Or if I saw my youngins in the street and getting ready to get themselves into something, and I really knew you, I would come over and say something to you, like it or not. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Time to go home. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can be honest with you, I love all my youngins in this town and around the world, because I know children around the globe internationally that I reached out and touched that contact me right to this day, and that comes from the gift that God gave me, you know, to see those who are want to help, see those who there's a chance. You can't save them all, but you can save some, and it's what you put into is what you get out of it. You can't harvest anything if you don't plant it correctly.
Right, and we've mentioned that. So you have so you teach others this
Yes,
these arts?
I teach the martial arts all over the world. I taught in an elite military command. I taught,
Can you share a little bit of that with us?
I've taught police. Well, my serving the country, was very interesting. I did my 10 years, and I came home, and I learned a lot about home and how to appreciate home after living overseas for 4 years in Germany. Got a chance to see parts of the world that a lot of people have never seen, but just on a map or on television. And I learned, the difference in people overseas. They fight for a cause rather than because. Here's a lot of because go on, no cause. And a lot of innocent people get hurt. In all wars, and at the end of the day, no one wins. See, that's something I learned. So when I came back home, it gave me more of an appreciation of home and even wanted to help more. I stopped drugs from being sold in Winbrook projects.
Is that right?
Okay, yes, I stopped drugs from being sold in the projects, me and my disciples,
and you've done some stuff on Ferris Avenue. I mean, I know one incident, this past summer, where there was some stuff going on in a basketball tournament that could have been a little ugly, and you escalate would be a good word, and you sort of stopped that, really single-handedly. And so I have witnessed, at least on that Ferris Avenue corridor, this huge respect that's given to you, but also this huge teaching kind of thing that I've had the opportunity to witness you do with some of these young folks. And so just tell us a little bit about that.
See, I never had a dad physically do this with me.
Yeah.
All my teachers were like my father.
Yeah.
And I wasn't a regular student.
Yeah.
I was a disciple. Students just come and go for self-gain. Disciples are those who live it. That's why all the Messiah's disciples was off the chain, you know what I mean? Those who followed the lesson, you feel me? And listened, not just hear, because hearing and listening are two different things. I was a listener and an observer.
So if somebody wanted to be, as we wind down the last couple of minutes of the show, so if somebody wanted to get involved with learning the trades, or it's not trades,
or learning the martial arts.
The martial arts, is there a school that they could come to that you teach? Or
well, right at the moment we don't have a building at the moment in which something that is
certainly you need to talk to me. As
some of the things I've done in this town, let me tell you, I should have been given a building. Been given a building.
Understand?
Because these, I've taken a lot of great young people from this town who became very successful in life, and etc. But it's God's work, you know what I mean. So I don't have a problem with doing it, because it pays to obey and do what's needed to be done.
Right.
Because that's what you're judged by.
Right. So if somebody out there is interested in in Professor Watts's teachings and that kind of stuff. Let's do this. That they can contact my office, and I've got your cell phone number, and I know how to get a hold of
Right.
you.
Yes, you do.
Because we
Yes,
do
you
have
do.
a one-on-one.
See, the eye that finds me
Yeah.
may be the eye that belong.
Okay.
See, all eyes don't belong. You see, some eyes hate.
Yeah.
You know,
You
and
think?
I know why they hate, because they can't participate. When you can't start, a lot of people get angry because they can't make a team.
Well, yeah.
And the reason they don't make the team is because they don't listen.
Yeah.
They just hear. So then they always want to tell the coach what to do.
Yeah.
Can't do
Want to
that.
be in charge. Yeah. I've run into that over the course of time in my own life and things that I've wanted to accomplish and do, and some of those things are not some things that the general population were looking, as a good thing. In my native community of Ossining, at one time we were going through some things with drug trafficking and stuff like that, and so I had people want to blow my car up, and it parks there every night, do it.
Right.
But anyway, I won't talk about Ossining. Any final words for us? And by the way, to get a hold of Professor Watts, certainly, you can contact my office, White Plains Community Action Program. Again, we're located at 70 Ferris Avenue. It's also known as the Madison House here in White Plains. 428-7030. But
I have an email. And my email is professorsifu7@aol.com.
And spell that Sifu again for those.
Okay, that's capital SIFU, Sifu. That's Northern Cantonese. The number 7@aol.com.
Great. So again, Professor, thank you so much for joining us here at White Plains Camp.
Thank you.
And Talks, and I'm Reginald Bush. Thank you. Good day.